Hello everyone, I'm Sophie and I'm currently at Kechara Forest Retreat, Bentong, Malaysia. And today I'll be continue reading. This time is from chapter 4, page 181 from The Promise. This is the biography of my guru, His Eminence the 25th Sam Tuku Rinpoche. Going Home, Chapter 4, India, 1987 to 1992. When I arrived in Zong Ladrang in 1988, I had very little money, didn't speak a word of Tibetan, and was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I was very poor and happy, but happy. I was where I was supposed to be, to live and die there. I wanted to be in Ganden, and Ganden was in me. Page 183. You see the caption of the picture? Of the many rooms in Zong Ladrang, Ganden Shatze Monastery, Rinpoche was allocated a humble little room that was bare, rudimentary, leaking, and next to a cowshed. However, he was finally living on the grounds of his guru's home, and it was here that he would experience some of the happiest years of his life. Going east. I felt very ill after the 16-hour bus ride from Delhi to Dharamsala. I wasn't used to the winding roads, but all that didn't matter. I was happy because I had finally arrived in India. I was going to be a monk, Sam Rinpoche. In 1987, the 22-year-old Rinpoche flew from Los Angeles to Delhi. Upon arrival in India, he traveled to Dharamsala, North India, the famous hillside village that the Tibetan government and refugee community called home. He arrived at Ganden Shatze's Shabten Kang, or puja house, with only 2 bags that held everything he had in the world. Page 185. Rinpoche stayed in Dharamsala for about a month, waiting for other people who wanted to become monks so that they could become ordained together. It is customary that people take their vows in groups of at least 3, and not as individuals. In December of that same year, he finally received his monk's vows from His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, who also gave him his ordination name, Tenzin Sopa. And Tenzin refers to a person who upholds the Dharma, and Sopa means patience. This name marked the beginning of his new life. After the ordination ceremony, most of the newly ordained monks were joined by their supportive family members. Rinpoche, unlike the others, had no familial support. Sharpa Rinpoche, whom he had recently met, was the only one present to congratulate him. Despite these lonely circumstances, Rinpoche was undeterred. On the contrary, he was excited that his childhood wish to enter monastic life was finally fulfilled. The first time I met Rinpoche, he didn't look like a normal person to me. He was very good looking, and the way he spoke was very pleasant, perfect. He looked very different from other people, like he had a lot of Dharma. He looked like a very Buddhist type of person. Gen Gelong, former disciplinary of Ganden Shatze Monastery. Home. In early 1988, Rinpoche made his way south to Ganden Monastery. He was finally going home, to a place where he really belonged. But Ganden itself was also a whole new world to Rinpoche. Just like the first time he set foot in America, he found himself in a strange place with an entirely different culture and another language barrier. Rinpoche did not speak Tibetan, and most of the monks could not speak English. Page 187. Caption of the picture. Sam Rinpoche visited his old room in Dzong Ladrang during a pilgrimage in 2006. Ganden Monastery is divided into two colleges, Ganden Shatze and Ganden Jangze. Though they are separated for administrative reasons, they share many of the same teachings and practices and regard themselves to be of the same monastic community. Within each college, the monks are further housed in different kanzens, which are like fraternity houses, delineated by the regions of Tibet, where the monks came from. As Tibet is a vast country with many different language dialects, monks speaking a certain regional dialect are placed in the same kanzen for ease of communication and to make them feel at home. Though through Dzong Rinpoche's earlier invitation, Rinpoche became a member of Pukang Kanzen within Ganden Shatze Monastery and took up residence at Dzong Ladrang, the personal household of Dzong Rinpoche. The manager of Dzong Ladrang allocated Sam Rinpoche a room next to the cowshed in the Ladrang's compound. The roof leaked, causing huge puddles during the rainy season. The room was infested with mosquitoes. Snakes would slither their way in between the mattresses, and the bare latrine opposite the cowshed was a far cry from the comforts of America. Rinpoche suffered dysentery for many months as he adjusted to India's water. Despite all these difficult physical conditions, Rinpoche would not have traded this for anything in the world. He loved being there because he knew he was staying in his guru's spiritual home and could finally devote his entire life and time to Dharma practice. Caption of the picture. Sam Rinpoche's room in Dzong Ladrang. Page 189. There was an added bonus to live in Dzong Ladrang. Rinpoche's room was allocated directly opposite the Tengkang, the Protector Chapel, where the Choyang Dulzin Oracle would take trance of the enlightened Dharma protectors, Doje Shukden and Satrap. Rinpoche would frequently run across the narrow lane to the Tengkang to attend oracular trances, or simply to participate in the monthly pujas to Doje Shukden. It was during one of these trances that Rinpoche received the oral transmission of the Doje Shukden divination text, which was composed by Doje Shukden himself. The Doje Shukden divination, or Mo, uses a six-sided dice and produces incredibly clear and precise answers, which until today Rinpoche uses for the benefit of many people. Rinpoche would spend most of the following 9 years at Ganden, where he engaged in many retreats, deep study, and doing massive charitable works for the Sangha and lay community. Caption of the picture. The Protector Chapel, Tengkang, of Ganden Shatse, where the official oracle would take transit of Doje Shukden and Satrap. Page 190. Caption of the picture: Sam Rinpoche's two gurus in Ganden, His Eminence Khenso Jampa Yeshe Rinpoche, who is on the left, and His Eminence Khenso Lati Rinpoche on the right. Page 191. Sam Rinpoche as a young monk in Ganden prior to being recognized as a Troku, making the traditional body, speech and mind offerings to his guru, His Eminence Khenso Jampa Yeshe Rinpoche. This offering, symbolizing the enlightened body, speech and mind of the Buddha, represents our aspiration to attain that same perfection and the faith in our gurus to help us traverse this path to enlightenment. Page 192. Sam Rinpoche making offerings of body, speech and mind to his guru, His Eminence Khenso Jampa Yeshe Rinpoche, in later years during a long life puja, Tensong. Sam Rinpoche always showed utmost respect to his gurus. Tough times in Ganden. The early years were not an easy time at the monastery for the young and as yet undiscovered Rinpoche. Some of the monks at the monasteries lived on sponsorship, but Rinpoche did not have any sponsors at the time. His living conditions were rudimentary and poor, and he was starving. His daily diet consisted only of sampa, which is roasted barley flour, which he would mix with tea and roll into little flour balls to be eaten. However, despite the scant portions he had, his monk friends knew him to feed half of whatever he had to the birds outside his room, leaving even less for his own consumption. He wrote to several people in America, such as his parents and Dharma friends in Los Angeles, to ask for their support in sponsorship. They all said no. His parents even wrote back to tell him that as he had made his bed, he should lie in it, and that he should not embarrass them further. Friends claimed that there were no reliable methods for sending money to India, so they did not send any. In quiet, lonely moments, he would sit alone in his small room and cry from immense difficulty of being there. Conditions were so poor and grim in the monastery and it was so difficult to find funds that Rinpoche even ran away from the monastery twice to the nearby town of Hubli because he felt so depressed. He hid in a hotel and planned to travel to New Delhi, from where he planned to escape somewhere else, perhaps back to America. Khenso Jampa Yeshe Rinpoche sent several monks to track him down, but Rinpoche dodged them as best as he could, moving from hotel to evade them. Eventually, Khenso Rinpoche sent word that if Rinpoche did not come back, Khenso Rinpoche himself would go to Hubli to prostrate to him and request his return. Sam Rinpoche was extremely embarrassed that his own guru, who was already in his 70s, had to resort to asking him to come back in this way, out of deep respect for his teacher and Khenso Rinpoche's instruction to him. He did not let this happen, so he returned quickly to Ganden. Soon after, there was a breakthrough. His old friend Carmen Kishnikov from New Jersey, now known as Anila Tupten Chonyi, after becoming a monk, after becoming a nun, started sending him $50 a month on the advice of Khenso Rinpoche Lobsang Tachin. This was almost equivalent to 1,400 Indian rupees, which was a lot of money to him at the time. With this new fund, he could buy food, fix the leaky ceiling, and acquire amenities to improve his meager living conditions: a fan, mosquito netting, and a stove to cook simple meals in the little hallway outside his room. On another occasion, when Rinpoche was visiting Sera Monastery, he consulted Dorje Shugden through the renowned Panlong oracle of Sera May for ways to alleviate his financial troubles. On the advice of Dorje Shugden, Rinpoche constructed a wealth box according to the instructions of Khenso Jampa Yeshe Rinpoche, and placed within it a wealth vase that had been handmade by His Holiness Khepje Zong Rinpoche. Page 194. Caption of the picture: Khenso Rinpoche and Sam Rinpoche feeding birds. And with that, I will end the session today. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And I will end this with the completion dedication in Tibetan. Jangyup Sencho Rinpoche, ma ke panam ke yushi, ke panam pa me payang, gonin kontu pewashu, toni towa Rinpoche, ma ke panam ke yushi, ke panam pa me payang, gonin kontu pewashu, daso juni sapage wadi, dandan trowa guna gampada, jepa jesu losan trapai, tamping imporin tu sa se sho, ke wa kuntu yandala madan, drome choki pala no chochi, sadam mangi yot terazone, doje changi ngopang watusu, ke wadi yududa, lama sang yudrione, wachika malupa de sala gopashu choki kya pusungkapa josu nampa pewala geki sama siwada tungki malu sawasho dadam sungi dusunda drewa songi latene gewa losan trapai tampa yureva gyushi ni modele sendele ni megunyandele shi ni sintatu dele pel kunchu sungi jingilo kunchu sungi ngodroso kunchu sungi trasi sho jesu nama kusen raptingchi nam katrini chochu kepada do some tempe draw me subsongi draw a musata to ni you come we wrong we go shin come them pendan de o malu go in challenge it one tensing get so ye shape shi de badu thank you shi don't be ngotro malupa then de dala sel do so go dan dem pa long shot no ke pa so shik shuk then sell. Thank you. See you for the next session.